Human psychology says that if there's an opportunity to get paid today, then you're going to try and take that opportunity. There is a general thesis and a general human psychology concept of saying like, if I can get something today that's going to return high tomorrow, I want to do that. As I mentioned earlier, the greatest thing about wine as an asset class are two things. One is that it is generally uncorrelated from the financial market. So we've seen it many times before during periods of economic deterioration, during periods of economic stress, fine wine prices have been more resilient. And the second thing is that we have this beautiful wine in front of us today, the 2010 Lafite Rothschild. They only make a limited amount of production of those bottles. And as of today, we've actually reduced the availability of that wine today. There is going to be a point in time in the future that no bottles exist of that wine. And the best analogy I can give to people when holding wine for the long term is, imagine going into an art gallery and seeing Picasso paintings on the wall. Let's imagine this was an art gallery and there was 50 Picasso paintings on the wall. And I systematically went round and took every Picasso painting off the wall, smashed it, left it on the floor until there was one left. What would be the value of the last Picasso painting at the end of that exercise versus the value of it at the start when there are 50 other Picasso paintings on the wall? And that is essentially the underlying fundamentals of investing in collectible wine. When you invest in collectible wine, these will be consumed, the supply will dwindle over time, and that yes, there'll be downturns. As I mentioned earlier, we've seen 4 downturns in the wine market since 2000, but we've also seen 4 market, periods of growth in the market. The downturns have been less severe and for shorter periods of time than the economic growth. And actually the long-term performance of wine has always been quite correlated to sort of 8 to 10% per annum. So my, sort of response to investors is, one, if I was ever going to try and time a market, I wouldn't buy at the peak of the wine market. I'd buy when prices have come down because I believe in the long-term opportunity. So I think now it's an opportunity to buy rather than an opportunity to leave.
Do you have competition more on the financial opportunities in alternatives or more from the tangible goods when people make comparisons and, capital is competitive in some ways. If I'm not investing in wine, I could invest in watches or in whiskey. So is that where you see competition?
I think the purely financially motivated investors are evaluating this in the context of both a basket of collectibles they can hold. So yes, they might think about this in the basket of cars or jewelry or artwork or whatever it might be, and against the other financial products they have available to them and the returns they can get. I think there's a second category of investors we have that are passionate about wine. If I've got to the point of life where I've got large disposable income and I love wine and I have an interest in wine and I'll explore it over a long period of time, but I can also get a financial benefit from doing so, it really is a perfect sort of solution, because if you invest in wine, you've got a passion for it, you have the optionality. You have a collection of wine, but you know that your economic interest is being retained and if not growing over time. Some of a 10,000 bottle seller realistically knows they're never going to drink all those wines, but they're passionate about it and they know the value's not only being retained, but it's probably growing. So you've got something you're passionate about, excited about, you learn about, and it's delivering a financial return. For me, that is the optimum. So in answer to your question, yes, the more financially driven investors that are purely looking at it as a financial return, of course, they're going to be comparing it to other asset classes they've got. And that's when probably this time period is a little bit more difficult and tricky to navigate because of the other options and returns that we're seeing elsewhere. But those that are a bit more sticky are probably those that have a passion for wine and are seeing this as a way to sort of kill 2 birds with 1 stone.